15th of April 2021, FMP Unit 8 pitch, Luke Taverner.
We'll just do a quick sound check. Can you just speak to us, Luke? Just make sure levels nice and clear and loud.
This is my film idea. And I messed up already.
Okay, you're just doing a sound check.
Yeah, we just do sound checking. We'll start again. Just speak to us and just say your name, what you had for breakfast.
My name's Luke and I had Shreddies, I think.
Okay, a bit louder, okay, and clearer, all right?
Okay,
but that should be fine. Okay, recording.
15th of April 2021, Unit 8 FMP pitch, Luke Taverner.
This is my pitch presentation for my FMP, and the working title at the minute is called Ghost in the House, and it is a horror comedy film. So, how I thought of this idea is I really liked when I was on the level 2 course. I really enjoyed doing the horror film task, and this made me, ever since I did that, I really wanted to always make a comedy version of that, because I really enjoy comedy films. So I thought that it would be an interesting task and fun to do, because I had like a motivation for it. So I thought I'd try and attempt to create one. So yeah, this is a picture of it, but I can show you a video of my level, film I made. Sorry. So yeah, this is what I made basically. I also watched the film Scary Movie, and that was another inspiration of why I wanted to actually end up creating a horror comedy film, because I felt like it would be something I wanted to do from watching it, because I like to watch the film, and I thought I would like to have my own kind of take an idea on this and make it my own sort of thing. So that's the reasons, that's my inspirations to why I want to create the film. So the content of the film. So far my idea is about a man who is haunted by a ghost, because he goes into the attic of the house and then accidentally disturbs the ghost, and this causes him to be essentially teased by the ghost. And how the ghost does this is by just messing around really, and being a bit silly and being a bit like childish kind of, because that's like the comedy I'm going for, like not too serious, kind of childish and teasing, because I feel like that would be a way to make it work. The ghost will look harmless because he'll have like a sheet. You know how they have like, you know how basically, you know how sometimes ghosts just have sometimes just a plain sheet on top, and that's kind of the idea, because I feel like it would look kind of silly, and this will add to the comedic effect I'm going for. But at the end, the sheet will come off, and then it will show the real scary side to have the horror element inside of that. So that would add to the comedic and horror effect I'm trying to go for. The ghost is probably gonna have just as much time seen on the camera as the protagonist, because I kind of wanted to see the two aspects of it, so you can see kind of both point of views. I feel like that would make it slightly better, and then I also want to have it so it's scary as well. So you know how sometimes you can see through the villain's point of view? I want it like that, so you can see the character looking kind of clueless to where the villain actually is, and I feel like that would add to the horror side. as much as the comedic side. There will also be like jump scares, but they'll be kind of cheesy. So they'll be like kind of unexpected. So it won't just be like a stereotypical jump scare, so one where it's just like a scary face just pops out. It'll be like silly things what pop out, but it will still like be kind of fast on screen. So like sometimes there's like a rat or something, and then it'll be the jump scare rather than an actual monster. But you think it's the monster, but it's not. It's just like a rat or something. So yeah, that was kind of an idea I was going for. Yeah. And the plot. So the plot is the man goes in the attic, finds something that causes the ghost to awaken, and then this causes the ghost to tease him. I also researched into technical areas so I could have the best final product for when it comes to actually editing the film and making it look like a horror film. So I learned a few software techniques, like to add shadows using, I'm not going to say this word right, vignette, butchered that word. But basically what it does is it adds shadows around the back bits of a shot.
Vignette.
Vignette, sorry. It adds like shadows around the back, and this will add to the horror effect, because most horror films use this for when they show a character's face, and they'll show the darkness, so you can't actually see what's behind them. I feel like this would add to the effect I'm trying to go for. I'll also lower the saturation to make it look colder rather than warmer, and this will also help add to the effect I'm going for, because it will basically show the character's face in the light, and it'll be clear to see the character's facial expressions, and I feel like that would just add to the horror effect I'm going for. So the pacing will probably be like a steady pace, so it won't be too fast, but it will start off kind of say steady, and then the middle bit will go fast, and then it will slow down again, and then at the end it will go fast again to try and boost the scare factor at the end, because at the end is the main scary bit. But throughout the movie it makes you feel safe, but then at the end it turns. I looked at different camera angles and shots I could use to see what the most useful ones are for when creating a horror film, and I found out that mid shots and establishing shots are very good to use, because mid shots will show the character's body expressions and also facial. The establishing shot will help get a feel for where the character is, and this is almost always used in horror films, so they just know where the feel is, so you can get a better understanding of the character to get a better attachment to him. I'll be using low-key lighting, because that will add to the horror effect, and it looks better for when creating a horror film. I looked into different props I could use, so I'm going to use sheets, fake blood. I think that was about it actually, and yeah, and I'll also need noises, which I'm going to need to make using Foley sounds. I'm going to make some banging, screaming or shouting noises, so I can have that to add to my horror effect, because I feel like that will be better for my film, because then it would add to the scare factor. When there's a jump scare, the shouting will come on, and for the banging or tapping, scratching sounds will be to make the make the audience feel uncomfortable. I also need to find some music to use, which I'm still looking for music, but yeah, this will be to add to the horror and comedic aside because I'm going to use it so it stops and starts when the character moves. I'll need equipment to film. I'll need one Canon XF100 camera, one tripod, one zoom, and LED lights if that's possible. I also did different types of research. So I watched trailers for films, horror films, to understand how they put it together, and this helped me get an idea of how to present humour and the horror aspect in a film. I also watched a short film on YouTube from another YouTube creator, which showed me, as that one actually helped me a lot, because it showed me that I don't really want to use the type of humour they used in it, because it wasn't really something I found funny, and the horror side wasn't really, I found that scary. So it showed me that that's not really the type of film I want to go for. I want to try a little bit different horror comedy film. I also looked into why people watch horror films and comedy films, so I could get a better feel for the audience, and this will allow me to add the ideas of why they use it and then place it into my film to make it the best for it, so it can be more enjoyed by the audience, which will keep the viewer interested throughout the whole film. I also looked at a script and how to write a comedy horror script, but I could only really find a horror script, and that showed me how to write it, how I need to present the noises, sounds, and if there's another character, the two different dialogues that has, stuff like that. Also, I found out that I'll probably be using kind of slapstick but also kind of witty humour, because I feel like mixing the both will make the film more interesting, so it won't just be one or the other, because I feel like having too much of one will kind of, because it'll be too predictable. If I have too much, say if I just have a film like slapstick, it'll be a bit too predictable, and if I just have it about witty humour, it'd be again too predictable, and I feel like the viewers will lose attention very fast, so I wanted to mix the two. My target audience is aimed at both male and female, because I did research into this and it showed that it's like a 50-50 kind of people who watch horror films, but comedy films it was more female who watch it. So I took that into consideration, and it showed that it's kind of aimed at both. The age of horror films watched is 15 to 22, and for comedy films it's a bit higher, but my target audience will be between 15 and 22. The class of the audience will most likely be working class, because it's mostly students who would be watching the film, because they are the ones who have most interest in horror films and comedy films. So, because I feel like if it's an older audience, they wouldn't really find the humour as funny, but obviously if it's a younger audience, they'll probably find the humour more funny. And and the generation would be Generation Z, which is one of the newer generations. My secondary audience was aged between 22 to 30, because it went up because obviously the comedy element was aimed at between that age. So I thought I'd put that age because it's mostly a horror film, but then the second bit's comedy. So my secondary audience would be a slightly older audience, but not by much. they'd probably be middle class with a martial status of married, and they would be most likely millennials. So the schedule I have planned was I'll be trying to film for 4 days, as I feel like this should be enough time to film the footage for a 5-minute horror film. Also, I think I'll need about 2 days of editing for the 4 days. So I can create, in one day I can create the rough edit, and then the other day I can just add to the rough edit and then make the final changes to make the horror film the best I can make it. I wanted my film to be distributed as a kind of like a Halloween special episode, because I feel like this would be best suited at the end of a TV show, because obviously it'd be like a interesting thing to end on, because it'd end on kind of a happy note, because obviously it's a horror comedy film. It's not just a horror, so it wouldn't just scare the audience, it would also make them hopefully laugh. I plan to create my film in my house using locations I've chosen, and the locations were my attic and my kitchen. I also have, I may also use another actor in my film, and I do have an actor who said they would be willing to be in my film. So that's very good, because I can use her for the scenes with the ghost and the character in the same shot. I will film when my house has least people in it, so there's no other additional noise in the Zoom picks up, and this will help my film be more clear and overall give it better audio. I'll also wear the same clothes each day to keep continuity. So my film stays consistent and isn't distracting to the audience, so they don't feel like it's necessarily like kind of annoying. I created a mood board here of things I'll most likely need. So I have the ghost sheet there, which is what I want my character to look like. I also have fake blood, because I'll need to use that for the ghost. I also have a creepy drawing, because I want to put them around my place of where I am, so it can add to the effect, which will make it so the character is more freaked out, and it'll make it more just overall give it more of a spooky feel. I also have glasses, because I want my characters to look kind of nerdy. This will add to the character's appearance and make him unique, and this will keep the audience that give the idea of the character and be like, oh, I'll connect the glasses to him, and this will make it so they can gain a better bond with the character. I also have I forgot what we call it, but it's like a heat thing. You wear it around the neck, which I might not use. It was just there in case I need to have another unique feature to the character, but I feel like the glasses should be fine to have. I also found this video of a ghost character I kind of want mine to look like. I'd like mine to look similar to. So something like that. Because I feel like it's quite generic, but it wouldn't be as predictable, because you wouldn't expect a ghost movie nowadays to look like that. So I wanted to have like my own kind of generic, but it's also adds kind of a unique feel to it, because it'll be like it's like an old-fashioned kind of design. It's not really like a new-fashioned design of a ghost. I also found a scene from a movie called The Boy, which where the character comes out. It's kind of saying that I would want to have like the acting, so like he goes flying when he gets pushed into. So like that, because I want the ghost to be kind of more powerful than the actual character, so more powerful than the protagonist, to add to the more fear element and the more he actually has an intent to kill this person, not just tease him. Is there any questions?
Thank you, Luke.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I have lots of questions.
Me too. Well done, thank
Well
you.
done.
Shall I start?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure we're going to end up
Yeah.
taking each other's questions.
Yeah.
Okay, so you explored the narrative in some detail, so I think we have a general idea of the plot. So, protagonist goes into the attic, disturbs the ghost, and then you said the ghost will do silly things to the protagonist.
Yeah.
What are those things? Because we've kind of got the beginning of the film, you've wiped over the middle,
Okay, so
and I'm not sure what's happening at the end.
By silly things I meant like pull things away, like move things. It'll be like, so say for example you put something down, it'll move, it'll just keep slowly moving. Like, so you know how sometimes it moves when they turn around, something will be there and then it just keeps slowly moving, stuff like that.
Will it begin quite subtle and build up, or is it quite scary from the offset?
It starts like not as scary and slowly build up to give the viewers a fright.
I think you need to think, what is the reason for the protagonist going into the attic?
Yeah.
So why he's going into the attic, whatever that reason is, that should then be the things as the ghost is teasing him. So, you know, I don't know, he goes in, the light goes on, the light goes off. He's looking for a particular something in the attic, and it's there 1 minute, and then he turns around to get something else, and then it's gone. But I'm not sure if you have or thought about the reasoning for him being in the attic.
Okay.
Yeah, that was one of my questions. Definitely, motivation is key. Cause and effect. What's made him go to the attic? Why is the ghost upset about this? So that needs to be decided and then very clearly in your script.
Okay.
My question was, at one point I had the idea that the ghost was kind of teasing and was, you know, this geeky character, so quite fun, and it was kind of going to be kind of spooky but fun. And then at the end, where you showed us the footage of him being thrown back and saying he's trying to kill him, then not so fun. It's much more serious and sinister. So which way or direction are you going?
He's going to start off very subtle, so like doing subtle things like teasing him and that, but at the end it builds up to the bit where he just loses. He just gets bored essentially of teasing him and just kills him.
Right, because that's quite dark. We've gone from
Because what you need to think about, as an audience member, you want me to invest in the ghost. You want me to see the ghost as a funny character. You want me to think what he's doing to the protagonist is funny, because it is funny, because we've all been there when you've gone into a room and then forgot why you're there, or something moves, whatever it is. But there has to be a reason or a motivation for why the ghost would have gone from Casper the Friendly Ghost to I'm now going to jump on you and kill you.
It was like an
Is it just because he's bored?
more like an accident. I feel like that would add to it. Yeah.
Or could it be the object that he's gone to the attic for, that when he tries to take that away, or, you know, there's an association between the objects. There has to be, again, like as Natalie said, some reason of why this switch, okay, in terms of fear. And you said, you know, it will be quite fun at the end, but when you talked about your Halloween special. So again, are you going to end on this dark, more sinister, malicious note, or are you going to turn around on a more fun note? What is the final outcome? I need to know the end.
Yeah, because if you're thinking scary movie, in Scary Movie, it'd be more like he might try to do something to the protagonist, but he ends up
Yeah.
actually hurting himself.
That's-
So stubbing his toe or whatever, you know, whatever it might be. It's more because you said slapstick and witty, and now suddenly someone's dying.
Yeah, I meant like it was like more like an accidental thing, but I feel like it might be a bit too dark.
Yeah, I think a big thing is you need to work on the motivation for the protagonist being in the attic, the reason for the switch in the ghost behaviour,
And the
and
tone.
the tone and ending of the film. Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely, because I think you need to have that clear in your mind so you know what you're doing when you approach your script.
yeah,
Yes. Otherwise, it's all going to be
Yeah.
try and do too many things in once. I think.
Yeah, because it could go in the middle a bit darker, but then have a funny twist
Yeah.
at the end, just when you think, and they kind of agree to disagree, and he leaves the ghost in his attic, perhaps. Do you know what I mean? At one
Yeah.
point you think his life is in danger, but then it's like, actually, he goes, all right, then keep it. And then he goes
Yeah.
back down,
Yeah.
closes the hatch, leaves the ghost alone. You know, so you've got to decide, yeah, how are you going to end and what's the tone of it,
okay.
because that will dictate.
One of my other questions kind of bounces on from the tone is what he's going to look like under the sheet, because you said he's going to be really scary under the sheet.
Yeah, so
So is he human-like? Is he?
he's gonna be human-like, but like with like like I'm gonna try and add like some makeup to make it look scary though, so it looks more like maybe you should keep the sheet on kind of thing.
Right, that's going to be the punchline.
Yeah.
He's like puts the sheet back on
Yeah.
him. So he jump scare, lifts the sheet, scary face, and then he's like, no. Just
Yeah.
Could it not be? Sorry, Sarah. That whatever he's going up into the attic for, he then tries to cover up other things while he's there, and he tries to take the ghost sheet to use to cover up things in the attic. And then some of this banter is about this sheet being taken off him, because obviously that's covering
like a
up
tug
the.
off almost the
Oh,
wall or
yeah.
something like that. The other thing I had a question about was you talked about having a female actor
Mhm.
in it. So what part will she play? Because who will be the protagonist? Who will be the ghost? And who is? At one point I thought, is she going to be the ghost?
Yeah, so I think she'll be the ghost.
Oh, so it will be a female ghost and male
Yeah.
protagonist. And you will play the protagonist or someone else?
I would like to try and get someone else to play it, but if it can't, then I'll have to be the last resort option. But
I think you really need to try and source somebody else,
That's what I'm
because
trying
the
to
type
find.
of film you're trying to create
that's
in
what
an
I'm-
attic, you're going to need to be behind that camera.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
And the issue is obviously COVID. So then in terms of who you can have on location at your home will be that I understand that is something you've kind of discussed in terms of COVID.
Yeah, I'm
restrictions.
trying to-
Yeah, could your brother not do it?
That's what I'm trying to get him to do. But he keeps saying.
Right, you're in
Well-
negotiations, let's say.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I suppose also, if it is your brother, his motivation going for the attic will be very different compared to your mum or dad going into the attic.
Yeah.
He might be going in to find an old game,
Yeah.
mum and dad might be going to find something completely different. So that actually the motivation will depend on who you
Character.
choose. So you might need to sort that out first before you start writing your script.
And
Yeah.
also, if it's your brother, I know there's been issues in the past, you need someone who's committed. So maybe thinking about, obviously, if it is someone within your family household, it's got to be someone that's going to put in the time, be able to give you the time, and is going to listen to your direction.
The other option, I suppose, would be whether his brother could film it.
Yeah,
And he
but
can-
then I think Luke was saying he wants to operate ideally the camera, which I
Yeah.
think is a good idea.
Yeah.
Could we go to target audience? Because you mentioned specifically, about your primary target audience, which is quite a young demographic, Generation Z, and male, female, middle class. You were quite kind of specific about that. And then you said about older people in terms of that young people enjoy comedy.
Yeah.
Do you not feel that older people can enjoy comedy?
Yeah, that's why I put them as my secondary.
But your secondary audience includes your primary, because you've got 15 to 22-year-olds, and you've also got 22-year-olds in your secondary audience.
Yeah, I think I meant to put that at 25 to 35, but actually I put 22. So what I meant by that is that the younger audience preferred the horror aspect, and the older audience preferred more of the comedy aspect. So, but I feel like, yeah, I was just trying to say that, but I probably worded it quite poorly.
I think your target audience needs a bit of work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In terms of, I think you need to, I was interested to hear you say about the slapstick element and then the witty kind of more, what will be contained in the script. I thought that was good that you touched on that. But yeah, perhaps for the middle class, they're looking for more kind of the intellectual wordplay and jokes that would be in the script. You could maybe make that link. And then whereas, who do you think would be more interested in the slapstick?
Oh, okay.
So maybe linking that and justifying that to your target audience would be useful for you to do. And tying on from that, I don't know, but just you mentioned about Halloween special on TV, which I thought was a good idea, but what channel? What, did you identify a specific channel?
Not yet. I'm still trying to find what would probably be the best one.
Off the top of your head, is there any particular ones that you think you might look at and consider?
I can't really think of one right now.
Okay, but that again, that would need some research and consideration and looking at who the target audience is for that channel.
Just one question more for me, because I'm conscious of the time. You mentioned that you're also going to use your kitchen.
Yeah.
Is that for the beginning scene? We're going to see him doing his daily routine before he goes into the attic, or does the ghost now come down into the kitchen? That bit confused me.
Sorry, the ghost will come down from the attic and follow him around,
The house.
and he goes into the kitchen, and then he follows him down to the kitchen.
Okay.
So yeah, sorry.
I think that obviously just links back then to being clear of your narrative.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think the drawing point is motivation for the protagonist being in the attic needs to be clarified. Reason for the switch in the ghost's behaviour needs to be clarified. Tone and ending of the film. You need to find an actor. Your secondary audience needs greater attention, and you need to consider the distribution of your film. Okay, I think they're the key
Yeah,
points.
like specifically TV channel that it would be aired on.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you, Luke.